So here we are back in the administrative dashboard, and what I want to do here is I want to show you how to change pages. Now you're seeing the the dashboard here with all these little widgets in here, and I'm not going to explain what these are. These, if you know WordPress at all, you know what these are. These are not actually the meat and potatoes of WordPress. That's going to be right over here. As a matter of fact, this is where almost everything in WordPress is right here. You can access everything. You're going to notice probably a few more things than you were used to before: portfolio, showcase, team clients, pinpoint options. Once again, these are all part Revolution slider. Once again, these are all part of the framework that we've installed, and so we're going to go over the relevant portions to your website right here. And the first thing I want to do is show you how to change pages. So I'm going to come over here to pages. Now I could actually just click on pages, or I can click all pages. They both do the exact same thing, go to the exact same place. Give us a very familiar interface that we see here in WordPress, which is a listing right here of all the pages that we have on the site, and it's in a very familiar, very familiar format. We have up here we have a title bar, and it tells us all the different things that it's going to give some quick information about this for us in this listing. And then when we hover over here, we get an edit, quick edit, trash, and view. Clicking on About Us and clicking on Edit, once again, do the exact same thing. You're going to see a lot of repetition here in WordPress in regards to that. Quick Edit just gives you a quick thing that just allows you to edit title and the slug, and what if it has a parent page, if it's using a specific template, which in this, because we have a page builder, we don't use templates, so we always have that listed as the default template. If I were to actually want to edit the About Us page, which doesn't really have a lot of stuff going on it as far as the Swift page builder goes, I would just click on that. So I'm actually going to click on the front page, and there's actually quite a bit of stuff going on here on the front page. So this is what we're going to take a look at here, and you're going to notice that immediately, because I'm using the Swift Page Builder, all of a sudden that immediately shows up as opposed to the usual WordPress WYSIWYG editor, which I could click Classic Editor right here. And when I do that, now I'm going to see a bunch of code and short codes, and this isn't going to really make sense. If I go over here, now I'm seeing just the raw actual HTML code. Okay, so unless you're a developer, you're not going to know how to edit these short codes and stuff, but that's okay. You don't have to. That's what the Swift Page Builder is for. It allows you to build pages with completely what you see is what you get, and you can also input code. You can do quite a bit of things, and it gives you a nice visual representation. And we're going to go over this visual representation right here. Okay, so as I'm opening up the home page in a new tab, and as we look at the home page over here, we'll see we have the header and the menu and stuff, and then you come down here, you'll see we have the copyright portion of the footer and this triptych footer. This is not the information that's being edited through the Swift Page Builder. The Swift Page Builder is editing this content area, all this area that you see in this light gray color right here. That's editing that content. And as you look over here, you can see, first of all, the first thing I have is the Revolution slider. Okay, so as I come in here and I see the Revolution slider, okay, so that's what I can see. That's my first thing. Now my next thing is this item right here. But you'll see that's not my next thing. There's actually a blank spacer and a divider between the two. And what that's doing is that's putting in this space here, and that's putting in this line right here, before I'm actually getting to this content right here, which is all interior painting 20% off, and it's called a call to action block. And what it does is it gives you an area to input some text over here, and an area to input a button to do something, and the button can do any number of things, as a matter of fact. Once again, right below that we have a divider again, and then below that you'll see we have 3 small sections. And you're going to see that in a portion of them, they do have a shortcode, but the shortcode's actually created for you by the system, but it does show the shortcode right there. We've got some pictures in here, we've got some text in here, and these are 3 different text blocks is what they are, just plain text blocks. Then down right below that, we have a divider. So here was our 3 text blocks, and codes that actually become buttons. Then down here we have a divider, and then right down below that divider we have the testimonial carousel, which is giving a list of our testimonials in our system that people can scroll through. Okay, all of this is created visually. Okay, you're able to create all of this without writing any code. And the way that you do that is when elements are already on the page, you're going to see you have 3 buttons over here. One of these is an X, and that is to delete that element. The other one of these is a little pencil, and that is to edit that element. Okay? And I'm going to edit the revolution slider, and when I click on that, I get this little screen here, and it's saying, what revolution slider do you want to use? And it tells me I need to use the alias, which I could find if I went into revolution slider here. Do I want it to be the full width of the container, which is the content, the page content right here, which is 960 pixels wide? Yes, I do want it to be the full width. Okay. If I wanted to give it a class name, an extra CSS rule, I put that right there. If you don't know how to write CSS, don't worry about it. When you're done, you click Save. That's all you do. And that saves your changes. Now I could come over here to my call to action block, and I could click on that, and you're going to notice that this interface is a little different. It depends on what the item is. You know, here it's going to say, what is the text on button? Here's the URL link. What color do I want it to be? What size is the button? What type is the button? Do I want it to be really rounded or slightly rounded? Do I want an arrow? Do I not want an arrow? You know, where do I want the position? Do I want it to align right or left, and I want the text the other way? In the target, do I want it to open when they click on the button? Do I want it to open in a new window or the same window? See, these changes in here is where we add in the text right there in a nice WYSIWYG editor that you see that is very, very similar with very similar options to what you see in Microsoft Word. And when you hover over it, you get a little shortcut telling you exactly what they are, what you're doing. You can create ordered lists, bold things, italicize them, change the color of the text. There's lots of things that you can do through this nice WYSIWYG editor, never needing to write code. But if you do, for some reason, want to go into the code, you can just click right there and it'll take you directly into the code, and you see we've got everything wrapped in an H3 tag. You don't see that over here, you just see this nice heading, but over here you see we've got the HTML H3 tags wrapping that right there. And once you're done, once again, you just click Save, and it saves your changes. Here, this is a standard text block. Open that up so you can see what we've done there. And what we've done is we simply added a picture here through the Add Media interface. We could either go to the media library and we can look at the pictures already in there and pick one, or I can click Upload Files and then just go to somewhere on my computer and upload a file in there. So very direct, very to the point, and then that will put that in there, and I get selections. Do I want it to be aligned left? Do I want it to be center? And then down here I've got some text, and then over here I've got a shortcode for a button, and I don't actually have to write that. I just put my cursor where I want it, and I come over here. I click on this, and it brings up this little tab, and then I look for a shortcode, and I need a button is what I need. And then once again I get to choose sizes, colors, type, very similar to what you saw with the call to action. And that is what creates this nice little shortcode right down there, so I don't need to know how to write. Do I want a margin below the widget? No. Do I want a border below the widget? No. I'm doing that manually myself. Extra class name I did because I needed I threw an extra class name in there for image purposes. So scroll down a little bit more. You see we have a divider. We have our testimonials carousel. Click that just to show you what the interface there looks like. See, we got testimonials. It lets me specify a text size, number of items I want shown. Do I want them to show up random or latest? Testimonials category, we don't have them divided into a category, but you could divide them into categories and then show only ones from a category. And testimonials page link. If you created a specific testimonials page, you can specify that in the theme options, and then this will automatically link to that. So once I'm done doing that, let's scroll down here a little bit more, and you'll see there are some page options. Here's the show page title, and this isn't checked because this is the home page, so we don't want the page title to be shown. But if I were on the About Us page, for instance, I'll show you that real quick, the page title will be shown on there. And so when you select that or deselect that, that's going to say, is there going to be this nice little white bar area up here that's going to follow all the way across, and is it going to say About Us? Is it going to give the title of the page itself in there? So I didn't put that there. Portfolio filtering, only valid if it's actually a portfolio. Show RSS icon. That'll show an RSS icon in the heading if you have a blog feed and you want people to be able to subscribe to it. Top spacing, we'll put a little spacing at the top of the page. And as you see right here, if I did not have this top spacing right here, this JM painting would be pushed all the way right up there. And that's automatically selected at the top spacing, but sometimes there are going to be some items that you're going to be entering in here for layout purposes, and you're not going to want them to have any space at the top. And so you can get rid of that just by clicking that right there. Sidebar configuration, you can choose a sidebar. Do I want a left sidebar, right sidebar, both sidebars? Then you get to choose which sidebar you want, and there's a whole bunch of them, but we don't want sidebars because this is the home page. Here's our all-in-one SEO pack, and we've got some information entered here, and this is just doing some SEO stuff for us is what it is. And generally speaking, unless you create new pages, you don't have to worry about this stuff here. So in this particular, there are description and title tags getting written in the background for most other pages, but here on the front page, we want to be very specific about what gets written. We don't want the system automatically writing everything because this is a primary page that search engines are going to come into. So we've made sure that everything that's getting seen here by search engines is exactly the way search engines want it, and that's why that's there. Okay, so once we're done with all that, all we do is just come up here and click update to update our page. We didn't really make any changes, but if we had made changes, then we could, once the page was updated. I'm sorry, the system's running a little slow now because we've been doing a lot of development on it today. So I'm going to go ahead and come to the home page, and you can see, even though there haven't been any changes, if I had made any changes, they would immediately be reflected up here in front. So it's as simple as that to alter pages, and you can see right here when you want to add an element, you click Choose Elements, and there are all of these elements that you can add, and they're really pretty much self-explanatory. You know, you're mostly going to add in a text block for text. You'll see we have a testimonials carousel, which we already added in. Okay, you'll see we have a revolution slider that we've added in at the very top of the page. You know, so you see there's lots of stuff that you can do. You can add tweets. There's a tweet bar that looks very similar to the testimonials carousel. There's a message box, and that's just a text box that's kind of in some way, shape, or form. In this particular interface, it just indents it in and makes it a slightly darker gray. Impact text and button, and that's what we're looking at over here. Right here. So you see there's a lot of different stuff. Here's our blank spacer and our divider, and we can create a frequently asked questions, which by the way we enter those in as a custom post type, and then we just enter this in and it automatically pulls from that based on the options that we specify. And all you do to add one of these is just choose what you want and you just click on it. I'm going to click blank spacer, and you're going to see now the very bottom here I get a blank spacer. And if you don't want this in there, which I don't want, I'm just going to come over here to the X and click. It's going to ask me if I want to do that, and yes I do. And I click update, and that's all I have to do to add and delete elements in pages. If you have any specific questions, there are so many elements here. I'm not going to go over them each. I mean, obviously, they're not all of them are going to be relevant. You're probably not going to use all of them on your site, but any of them that you do want to use, any of them that you have questions about, please let us know, and we will be happy to create a quick screencast showing you how to use that specific element. So that's how you alter and change pages in the system.